opioid crisis is consuming our country, and NBC News is doing a series on the epidemic this week.
Yeah, it's called One Nation Overdosed, a Generation at Risk. It's looking at the problem from the viewpoint of children to first responders and many others.
So I had a chance to speak to NBC's Kate Snow about her upcoming reports. I know you moved out of Bangor when you were little, but can we still claim you as Maine's own? Is that okay?
Yeah, I was born in Bangor. My dad was at Orono at University of Maine, and I was born in Bangor, so sure.
So this opioid situation is so serious in our state. You had a chance to kind of go across the nation. Did you find when you were kind of on the grounds firsthand that it's even worse than you think, or was it kind of what you were expecting?
Well, and I've actually been in Portland a few years ago when we started, really reporting on the opioid crisis, so I know what you're dealing with up there in Maine. Look, it's everywhere now. Everywhere we've gone over the past several years, I hear the same kinds of stories, that it crosses socioeconomic lines. It's not one type of person anymore, and it's become, unfortunately, kind of the fabric of part of our society. And what we're focused on now on Nightly News is the kids, the children that are suffering innocently because of what's happening all around them.
Well, and I know that's one of the pieces you're working on, and the children is kind of the untold story, really, because we hear about the addicts and those who either make it or don't make it, but a lot of those people have children, and boy, are they affected by this.
Yeah, and so, for example, we tonight will be telling the story of Torys, who's a 14-year-old living in Dayton, Ohio. 10 years of her life, her first 10 years, her mother was using heroin and her uncle in the same house. And she was essentially neglected. She didn't really have a mom. She describes being the mom herself and having to cook the meals and having to get herself ready. And it's hard to hear these stories from young children, but I think it's important. She wanted to tell her story to help other kids and to show that this is happening.
Another huge topic here is the first responders. I mean, they're the ones who get there, who assess, who essentially can save the lives of these people if there's an overdose. I mean, boy, do they have stories to tell.
I spent the day with some first responders in Ohio. I think it was about 8 or 10 hours we were with them, and we went to a location where there were 3 people overdosed, and I watched them save 3 lives, and one of them was clinically dead when we got there. So that was harrowing to see, but they're doing that every shift, every day, and I know it's similar up in Maine. I've actually been around with some of your EMTs up there too a while ago. The other thing that we're looking at is schools and how schools are coping. We were in New England in Massachusetts at a school out on Cape Cod where all the teachers and the principal have to think about this every day now, because it's not all the kids, obviously, but there's a fair number. In the 4th grade alone, they've lost 6 parents in this one elementary school. So how do you cope with that, and how do you teach kids to deal with their emotions?
All right, Kate Snow, thank you for doing this, for shining the light on this topic, and we look forward to seeing your work.
Thank you so much for having me.
And that series continues coming up all week this week on NBC Nightly News, on the Today Show, MSNBC, and online as well.